In this video, we'll create an interactive budget versus actuals dashboard that's going to dynamically update based on our inputs, and it's going to tell us the variance with supporting charts and visuals. And thank you to the Daily Upside, a free business and finance newsletter, for sponsoring this video. For the dashboard, we're going to need two input tabs, one being the actuals and the other one being the budget. So let's look into it. So over here, we've got the three different sheets, and we've got the budget one out here, which is basically all of the income that you might have, that being your salary, your bonus, and potentially a side hustle of sorts. That's a total income. And just below that, we have all the different expenses, which are pretty much the standard expenses you might have in your day-to-day. Below that, we've got the savings over here, which is simply the total income minus the total expenses. And just below that, we've got the cumulative savings, which is essentially the current month's savings plus any of the previous months in the year. That's the budget side, which looks nice and clean because, well, it's just a plan. For the actuals, it's a bit messier. Let's look into it. Over here, we've got all of the actuals, and we've got sorted by the date, the month, the category, which are all of these categories that we've got over here, the description, so what it actually was, and then the amount after that. If you go all the way down to the bottom by pressing Control down arrow, you'll see we have up until May over here. Now you'll notice that we can't actually see the titles anymore, so let's go back all the way to the top here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna freeze panes. So we'll just select this column over here by pressing the Shift space. From there, go under the View tab. Under Freeze Panes, we wanna just click on Freeze Panes there. And the idea now is that when you scroll down all the way to the bottom here, you're still going to have the titles so that you can see what thing is going to be for what. Now that we understand the different inputs, let's start working on the output dashboard. So go to Control Page Up, all the way to the top here. And firstly, we want to have a drop down that's going to allow us to select which month we're in. So for that, we'll just type current month over here. And then we can just put a sign like so. And for here, we're first going to format it. So go to Alt-H-B-A, which is going to give you the all outside borders like so. Control-B to bolden it. And then let's highlight the back. So go to Alt-H-H. And I'm just going to select this yellowish color over here, like so. Then what we want to do is a data validation, which is going to be the drop-down list. Go to Alt-A-V-V for that. That's going to be the data validation. We want to select a list. And the source, we want to select all the different months. And we actually have them laid out over here under the budget. So let's go ahead and select them. Control-Shift right arrow there. And we'll select all the months up until December. Hit OK. And now over here, when we look at it, you can see that we have all the different months. Let's put the month of April for now. Now to get the budget versus the actuals, we need all the different line items. So for this, go to Control Page Down, and we're just going to copy and paste them from up here. So we've got all the way to the total expenses, Control C, and we're just going to paste it like so. Then we want to add two more titles up here, one that's going to say that's the budget, and the other one that's going to say that's the actual. Now you can't see them, it's probably because they're in white font, so go to Alt-H-H. We're just going to go ahead and select a dark blue color as the background. From there, we're going to need some sort of a formula that's going to say that, hey, if it's currently this line item, so the base salary under the budget, and if it's currently in the month of April, then we want the number for that. So for this, we're going to do an index match. So we'll go equals, index, press the tab key, the array, go to Control Page Down. It's going to be this whole range over here. Let's go ahead and select everything up until the total expenses. Press the F4 key, which is going to allow us to lock it, meaning that when we copy down, it's going to stay fixed on that table, which is what we want. Press the comma key, then it's going to ask for the row number. So for us, that's going to be the base salary side. We'll go match, that's the next function that we're going to use. Press the tab key, the lookup value, go to Control Page Up. It's going to be the base salary because that's what we're interested in. Press the comma key, the lookup array is going to be the whole range where you have these, which is going to be this range over here up until total expenses. Press the F4 key there, comma, and the match type, we want the exact match. So put a 0 there, close those brackets, press the comma key, and now we need to match by the month date. In this case, we want the month of April. So we'll go match again. The lookup value, in this case, like we mentioned, is going to be the current month of April. Press the F4 key, comma, and then the lookup array, Control Page Down, is going to be this whole range over here, from figures all the way to December. Press the F4 key, comma, and we want an exact match, so that's just going to be a 0. Close those brackets and then close the brackets again and hit enter. Nice, that's giving us a base salary of 3,000 in the month of April. If you go Control Page Down to try to verify this, so in the March of April, it's at 3,000 for the base salary, and this is the month. So it's looking like it's correct. Now looking at the actuals, and this is going to be slightly different. That's because some line items are actually duplicated in the actuals. For example, if you go to Control Page Down, all the way to the actuals here, you'll notice that we have leisure 3 times in the same month of January. And that makes sense. After all, maybe you had some fun activities 3 times in a row. And so we need to do some sort of a different formula because a match is not gonna work because it's only gonna match for one. Instead, we're gonna need to sum them. So for this, we can use a SUMIFS equals SUMIFS, press the tab key. The sum range, go to control page down all the way to the bottom here, is gonna be this whole F column. The reason we want the whole column instead of just some of the numbers or all of the numbers inside it is because whenever we want to add a new row, like we have a new actual, new expenditure or something, we want it to be able to account for that. So that's why we select the whole column there. Press the comma key. The criteria range, number 1, first we want to select it by the category. So that we want to make sure that this category, press the comma key, and the criteria 1, control page up, is actually going to be equals to this figure that we've got over here, or this item. In this case, it's the base salary for now. Press the comma key, and the criteria range number 2, go to control page down, is the month. So we want to select that column C here, press the comma key, and the criteria number 2, go to control page up, is that it's in this current month that we've got up over here. Press the F4 key for that one to lock it. Close those brackets and hit enter. Nice. From there, we can go ahead and copy these. So control C, just drag them down all the way to total expenses, control V. Then we want to sort some of these. So we'll delete these over here, delete, and we'll delete these two over here as well. Because for these, they're just going to be the sum. So it's just going to be total income is the sum of all 3 incomes. Select these two first. So we'll go shift right arrow and then alt equals. That's going to do the formula for us. Same thing over here. Select the 2, then alt equals. That's going to do it for us. Let's reformat them. So go to Control B and then Alt HBP. That's going to give us the top border. Same thing over here. Control B, Alt HBP for the top border. With these formulas, it should be fully dynamic. So let's suppose we change the current month to say the month of January. Then you'll notice that all the figures change for us. And same thing if we go to any of the other months too. And speaking of budgeting, if you're looking to learn more about business and investing, the Daily Upside is a free newsletter with over 330,000 subscribers, myself included. It was founded by a former investment banking VP with the goal of educating and empowering individual investors. Every weekday before the markets open, they deliver a morning brief followed by more detailed stories that are shaping the business world directly to your inbox. Plus, on the weekends, they publish a deep dive newsletter going over business trends in more detail, and it's actually what I enjoy reading the most. For example, they recently did a piece on activist investing, explaining what it is, who the major players are, and the companies that are currently under pressure from activist investors. So if you're looking to stay on top of the latest business and investing news, click the link in the description to sign up. It's completely free, and if you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. Alright, back to budgeting. Now that we've got both the income and the expenses, let's go ahead and add the savings, which we forgot to do so. So we'll go down over here and we're just going to type savings. And it's just going to be equals to the total income minus the total expenses. And same thing over here, so Control V. And we're just going to reformat this. So go to Alt HBD for the top and the bottom border, and then Alt HH. And we'll select the yellowish color that we've got over here. One thing you'll notice though is that it's a bit hard to tell between whether the budget is higher or the actual is higher and by how much. For this, we can do a variance over here. So we're gonna do a variance dot abs, meaning for an absolute, and then we're gonna do a variance percentage as well here. And we're gonna put these in blue, Alt HH, and let's go ahead and click over here, press enter. And for the variances, it's just gonna be, one's just gonna be the regular difference, while the second one is going to be on a relative basis. So it's gonna be one figure divided by the other minus 1. So let's look into it. Firstly, for the absolute, we'll go equals the actual minus the budget, hit enter. And it's obviously no difference here because it's just both 3,000. Same thing with the variance percentage. We'll go actuals divided by the budget minus 1. That's gonna give us the percentage for us. Then we can just drag all of these down all the way to the bottom over here. For these that don't have anything, we can just delete them. So just press delete there. Same thing over here, just press delete. For the expenses side, you'll notice under utilities here that our actual is actually higher than the budget, and it's showing a positive figure, which doesn't quite make so much sense. It means that we spent more than we had anticipated, but it seems like it's a good thing here. So instead, we're gonna flip the signs. So we'll go to press the F2 key here, and we're gonna go C first and then D after that. Hit enter. Same thing over here, press the F2 key. We're gonna put a C first and then a D after that, hit enter. we'll go select these, Control C, and just drag them down all the way till here. This way, if we have we spent more than we actually anticipated, it's a negative value, and if it's the opposite, it's positive, which I think is more intuitive. Let's go ahead and format these, so Control B, and then Alt H BP for the top border. Same thing over here, and down over here, we're gonna format it in this other method, so Alt H BD, and then Alt HH, and we'll select the yellow color here, hit enter, Control B. For the variances, we can take it a step further and do some kind of a conditional formatting, so it stands out more if it's a positive figure or a negative one. So for this, first let's go ahead and select this whole area. So Control Shift down arrow and then Control Shift right arrow. And you'll notice there's this conditional formatting table here. And you've got a ton of different options. So you can do a data bar like so, you can see there what it kind of looks like. We can do icons, so you can do up, down arrow, etc. But we're gonna do instead just highlight cell rules, which is quite a simple thing to do. And so if it's greater than, if it's a positive figure, so we'll put greater than 0, then we're gonna wanna just go ahead under the custom format to the color here, and we're gonna select the green color, hit OK. Nice, and then we wanna do OK there, and we wanna do one for smaller than as well. So highlight cell rules less than 0, and we're gonna want a red color for that one. So we'll go under this here, then custom format. We're gonna want a, say, sharp red color like so, hit OK, hit OK again. And now for the zeros, we're gonna have it in black. For the greens, the positives, and then for the reds, it's going to be the negatives. This makes it a lot easier for people to interpret. Now that the dashboard is looking better, let me show you how you can add new items and how that's gonna dynamically change the model. So let's go under the Actuals tab, and over here go to the very bottom by pressing the Control down arrow. And let's say under the 29th, so we're gonna go 5-29-2022, press the tab key, and it's gonna be for the month of May. You'll notice that we have a formula here. The text side is gonna give us essentially reformat it however we want, and then we're gonna select what we want formatted, which is the date, and we wanna change it to month format. So for that, we put these 4 M's like so. Hit escape to get out of that. Then for the category, let's say this is a new side hustle that we found. We'll select that. And this is gonna be for, say, lemonade. We made a lemonade stand. So let's go ahead and put that here. And let's say we made $1,000 off that. So now that we have all of this inputted, we'll go back to the dashboard. We'll change the month to the month of May. Hit enter there. And you'll notice that under side hustle, now it's showing 1,366. If we go back down, control page down there, that's gonna be the sum of the 366 we had already, plus the 1,000 that we just added. One final automation we could do to the dashboard is that whenever you open up the file, it's gonna be updated to the current month, so the month that you're actually in. For this, we can use the today function. So we'll go equals today. I'm just gonna show you here, close the brackets, hit enter, and that's gonna give me today's date. If I open the file tomorrow, it's gonna be updated to tomorrow's day. Press delete there, and we're gonna have to combine these functions. So we'll go equals, we'll type text, press the tab key, and the value here is gonna be the today function. Hit enter, hit tab, sorry, close those brackets, press the comma key, and here we're gonna put in quotations the M 4 times, which is gonna represent the month. Close the brackets and hit enter. Now you can see that it's in the month of April. This way, whenever you open the model, it's gonna be updated to the current month. Once we have this working the way that we wanted, we can actually start adding some charts over here. So let's say we call this something like budget versus actuals, income. Hit enter there, and we're just gonna go under the insert. Let's go ahead and select these over here. So we're gonna select these three line items, and we're gonna go under recommended charts, and we're fine with the first clustered column. Hit OK. From there, we're gonna reformat it such that this is actually the title. So we're gonna select these three, go to Alt H M C. That's gonna merge and center for us. Then we're gonna go Control B, Alt H H, and we wanna select a dark blue background, like so. Hit enter, Alt H F C, and we wanna select a white font color. We wanna delete that chart title because this is gonna be this title up here. We wanna get rid of those grid lines as well. So we'll click on them, hit delete. For the legend, we wanna label these, so go right click, and we're gonna go under select data. The first series is actually gonna put edit there, and we wanna name that series the budget. Hit OK. And then for the second series, go to edit. We wanna name that one the actual. Hit OK, and then hit OK. If you want to change the colors, it's as simple as just selecting the columns there, and we're gonna go down over here, select the dark blue first, and then for the second one, let's say we go with a light blue color, like so. refit this, so we're just gonna bring it down a bit, kind of like that. And let's also get rid of these borders, so we'll right click, format chart area, and under the border we're gonna say no line, so that's gonna give no outside border, as you can see over here. Lastly, it'd be nice to add some labels, so go to right click and we're gonna go add labels. Same thing over here, right click and add data labels. You'll notice that the labels seem to overlap with each other, so we can change the gap width there. We can select something like, say, 100, hit enter, and now you can see that things look a bit better. Now this is just one type of chart. Maybe for the expenses it makes more sense to do some kind of a pie chart, say. So we might select all of the items here, so pressing shift down arrow, and by pressing the control, and you can click on all of these actual figures over here, and we can go to the insert. Say we insert a 2D pie chart. Now here you could be able to see the breakdown of where the expenses are going, and here it seems like the rent is actually the highest expenditure that you have. While for this example we focused on a personal finance budget, this is also applicable to a company's budget, but instead of having groceries, say, you would change the line item to marketing, for instance. For more on Excel, you can check out our free playlist over here, or you can see some of our courses over here. That's all for this video. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next one.